Self-compassion. Today it's all about how do we feel self-empowered by using all the tools that we have towards developing self-compassion. That's what we're going to talk today. Okay. So first, that beautiful story that I promised I'm going to share. This is called the story of the Golden Buddha, which many of you might have heard, but I'll just tell it in a nutshell. Like almost 300 years ago, a Burmese army planned an invasion of Thailand. Okay, Thailand was then used to be called as Siam, and so there were these monks, these Buddhist monks in Thailand, who were holding this enormous treasure, like a solid gold Buddha, that today if you look at the value, it will be like 100,000 crores. Okay, so they said when the Burmese army would invade Thailand, they are going to anyway take the Buddha also. So to protect the Buddha from being damaged, what they did is they covered that Buddha in 12 inches of clay, like they put clay on top of it. So they covered the whole Buddha in clay. So the Burmese army came in, they attacked everything in Thailand, but when they looked at this whole clay statue, they thought it's like worthless. Okay, and so they ignored it, and then but sadly they killed all the monks. And so the monks were not alive to tell people that this statue is not clay statue, but it's actually a golden statue. So the monks weren't alive, and so this clay statue was lying there like for years and years, for almost like 250 years. Okay, in the mid 1950s, it's like people wanted to move this Buddha statue, which is like this clay statue, from one place to another. So when they were trying to lift it in a crane, they were like, oh, why a clay statue is weighing so heavy? Because it was like 5-ton heavy statue, and the monks didn't expect it to be so heavy, and so they said, okay, we'll have a bigger crane to just lift it up. And in the night, they just, because it was clay, they covered it with the tarps, because otherwise it would rain and the clay would go off. So what they said, in the middle of the night, one of the monks was checking on the tops, like he was just covering it up when he wanted to lift it from within the temple. So they were like lifting it outside, and he was covering it with the sheet so that it doesn't get wet in the rain. And suddenly he saw a reflection, just a tiny reflection, a glimmer through the crack, the clay crack, and he carefully started to chisel it, like cut it around, and then he saw that the glimmer became bigger and bigger, and then the entire clay fell away, and he saw the solid golden Buddha. And that's like the story of Golden Buddha, which is a real story. So 250 years this Buddha was lying inside deep inches of clay. Now why am I telling this story? Okay, it's again, I'm just telling it as an analogy to the aspect of self-compassion, because all of us have this golden Buddha within our own self. There is greatness within us, but it is too often masked by all the conditions, the previous experiences, because people tell you are not worthy, people tell you are not adequate, there is pressure from society to behave well. We tell our own children, like, do like them, study like this person, become like that person, why are you not performing like this? And either we have already become victims and we victimize the next generation, and the whole thing that we are doing, the whole damage we are doing, is we are covering up this whole golden Buddha that is lying deep within our own self. Because unless you really let open that crack, as I said, go deep within, be open to face that pain, and let that clay fall off from the outside, so you start to really have the vision, that the beauty of that shimmering gold which is there within all of us. Until you really see that, then you will not enjoy the marvel of who you truly are. And that's what is the journey of self-compassion is all about. It's about traveling to our own deep, mysterious part of our own self, and the acceptance that we have for who we are, what we are in any given point of time. The moment we do that, our acceptance for others also like expands, because the more love is always unlimited, and unless you have this unlimited love for your own self and you experience it firsthand, first of all, you are able to spread it. So that's the whole point of the whole this long 3 episodes of self-compassion. It's about the more you enjoy, the more you have then you know it's infinite, it's limitless, you can always spread it to others. And in general, people who are not feeling worthy enough themselves, those are the ones who use self-hatred, and they cannot easily love, they neither love themselves, and they cannot easily love others also and believe others also, and then they judge, and then they end up spreading self-hatred. So it always gives us an opportunity to look at all the difficult experiences that we've all had through self-love, and that's what helps us to convert both good and bad experiences and look at through the lens of self-love. And Carl Rogers puts it like so beautifully. He calls this like the curious paradox, which is, when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change. Because unless you start to accept who you truly are, there is no scope for change there. Okay, so people, as I told last week, it's not about getting stuck with this aspect of self-love, it's about growing through the aspect of self-love. So next time when you are given a cookie or a chocolate or an ice cream when you are on diet, okay, do not say, no, I cannot eat this, my diet is not allowing me to do. Who said, who is the diet to allow you or not allow you to have that cookie? This comes from a place of self-hatred or frustration. So you can always respond saying, I'm good without this, or I do not need this right now, I don't feel like having this right now. Or if you really feel like having it, take it with all your heart, with all the goodness that everything possesses. And as this comes from the place of self-love, you know that you're not going to overindulge in it. You know you have control of your own self, you have total control, and you know that it all comes from the place of self-compassion and not self-hatred. And so the practices here that I'm going to suggest, the first practice is by the famous meditation teacher Tara Brach. So she calls this like the practice of RAIN. The word RAIN is an acronym which is about, so I'm going to give links for all these practices so that you can dive deep within these practices to explore as well as to start practicing self-compassion. So the R stands for recognizing your emotion. So close your eyes and then look at what's the emotion that I'm currently feeling. And A is to allow it to pass through first. Allow it to pass through or sink. Okay, let that emotion stay. Let me allow that emotion, like whatever that I'm feeling, let me allow it and not resist it. And I is to investigate, oh, why am I really having this emotion right now? What is this emotion trying to tell me? And N stands for nurturing the feeling. Okay. So suppose if some of you might have like difficulty practicing self-compassion, like no, I don't think that I can love myself, because some of us might have gone through so difficult experiences in life that you can't practice self-love. Then what you can do, you can have a proxy, like you can imagine somebody who loves you so much, like your parents, your siblings, your neighbor, your friend, your teacher, whoever it is, your grandparents, and or your own younger self, that inner child. You can think that person as the proxy who is now showering that love onto your own self, like what they would wish for you as a friend. If you consider yourself as like your best friend, like if your best friend is talking to you, how would they talk? What language would they use to talk to you? Would they use so much words like, oh, you're not worthy, you are useless? Would they use words like that, or would they use words of love and compassion? So it's about like, if you're not able to do these practices, then think of a proxy who would be able to send this love and blessings. Okay. The next thing is setting intentions in the morning. There's a beautiful practice which is called like I love you practice. I have started to do this since the lockdown because I've had like lots of emotions to process through, and it's not going to like come overnight. But the moment you wake up in the morning and then you give gratitude for waking up, and then you just say like, I love you. I love you, Riz. I love you so much. I love you for all that you've gone through. And then, so the whole story of this practice is again given in the link below, and definitely you can use that link. So you can either use the rain practice, or you can use this practice. You can use your journaling practice. There are so many links I'm going to give down below that you can use to look at whichever that works with you, or one practice would work one day, some other practice would work some other day, depending on your mood. But the moral of the story is that self-compassion is the starting point for all of us to become better to grow, to evolve as a fine human being, as someone who is able to love everybody else without any sort of a judgment. Okay, because until it comes from a place of self-love, and we know what it is to have these sufferings, and then still with all these limitations, still feeling empowered, still feeling the joy in life and meaning in life. And most importantly, it is necessary for us to teach these practices to children. So I have given a link. If you have a kid, then you could use this journal and then let children start to practice self-love. Let them feel worthy of themselves, and let's not like use these ideas of self-hatred and tell them that they are not worthy of anything. We are nobody to tell them that, because they are complete and whole as a human being, like how as we are complete and whole as a human being, our own self. Okay, so let me know your thoughts about this whole idea of self-compassion, and you can practice and give your feedback as how these practices have worked for you. And if there's anything more that we can do, please share your thoughts as well. And let's all be more lovable towards our own self, and also towards our fellow human souls and community as a whole. And imagine a world where there is like less judgment, and there is just love, and there is just overflowing love, and there is like compassion. There is suffering as well as there is compassion, and so we are able to find meaning, like we are not alone in this journey of suffering, like find meaning, like the common ground to humanity. I mean, that's what I think is the beauty of this whole human life is all about. And so I'm going to meet you, of course, in the next episode with some other concept that I find is more relevant for the current context. And until I see you in the next episode, signing off with infinite love, self-compassion, compassion for you, for all the love that you've shown for me, gratitude and bliss. This is yours. It is Let the Soul Speak.